So over the weekend I watched Thor Ragnarok. Being the final movie in what I assumed was supposed to be a trilogy, I expected Thor to end the series with a bang, and it did, both figuratively and literally. This being the 17th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's damn near impossible to not compare this to the others that came before. I mean, hell, there was 2 Thor movies before that, so you still have to compare it to them. Before I get to the new movie, let's take a look back at the first 2. In hindsight, you could probably pull some value from Thor 1 and Thor 2 The Dark World, but when they first came out, they kinda got lost in the shuffle. I felt they were pretty forgettable and or disposable compared to any other MCU movie. The first movie had to establish a lot of world building, or worlds building, setting the standard of how magic and science blend together when it comes to those outside of Earth, making someone so godlike as Thor relatable, and making Loki be the only recurring villain in the MCU, with the exception of Thanos, or Tony Stark. The second movie was easily the most forgettable, with the exception of the ending, which provided more background into how the Infinity Stones are playing a role in the MCU. Truthfully, this could have honestly been culminated into a short film right before another Marvel film, like, I don't know, the first Guardians of the Galaxy maybe? With this third movie, all of the quote-unquote gravity in the Thor series is almost completely taken out, and I can see how this can turn some folks off. A lot of criticism going at Ragnarok are pretty much just criticisms echoed throughout the cinematic universe for Marvel being too light and how the comedy undercuts the drama.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
There's a little validity to it, but at the same time, you don't really hear the same criticisms about, say, Indiana Jones or James Bond, when they inject humor and action that was so over the top that it came across as comical. But I'm not here to make an argument about that. Maybe that'll be something for another time. Back on topic about the humor in Thor. In the first movie, the land of Asgard had a serious and regal tone to it, and a lot of that can probably be chalked up to Kenneth Branagh as a director whose resume includes Shakespeare adaptations. Jokes didn't really kick in until Thor and his band of merry men went to Earth and went through the typical fish out of water tropes. In the second movie, things were just so dull in my opinion. And honestly, a boring and easily forgettable villain like Malekith didn't help matters. The comedy was okay, with comic relief from Stellan Skarsgård and Kat Dennings pulling double duty, but other than that, it was just whatever. And with the third movie, they just completely reworked Thor. Directed by Taika Waititi, who is mostly known for an unknown to the mainstream vampire comedy What We Do in the Shadows, Ragnarok strips away most of the stuffiness from the Thor series. Ironically, on the final movie with a title that pretty much sums up the end of Thor's world, it's a straight up comedy with action and drama beats, when the previous films were vice versa.
Hey, let's do Get Help.
What?
Get Help.
No.
Come on, you love it.
I hate it.
It's great, it works every time.
It's humiliating.
Do you have a better plan?
No.
We're doing it.
We are not doing Get Help.
Get help! Please! My brother's dying! Get help! Help him!
Oh, classic.
Still hate it? It's humiliating.
No, not for me, it's not.
With dialogue that was mostly improvised by Chris Hemsworth, it seemed like this previously super serious character had been hanging around Tony Stark too much, or been catching up on all the comedies that Captain America had on that list of his in Winter Soldier. The overall tone for this movie was jarringly upbeat, colorful, and goofy, almost to the point where everything came across as slapstick humor for the most part. Another ironic bit, with all the jokes, stakes had definitely been raised and consequences have gotten increasingly dire. Where characters are at the biggest risk of being killed, where Thor's entire planet or realm is in jeopardy, where Thor loses his hammer in the trailer, and much more in the film, and that's as far as I can go as far as spoilers. The most consistent part, at least, is where they snuck in with the comedy of little seeds that have been growing since the previous Thor movies and Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's nice to see them grow even more until they finally bloom when Avengers Infinity War comes out. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. I consider it harmless, while I can understand why some would call it toothless. This has been the most entertaining Thor that's been throughout the entire MCU, and it made for a good date night. My wife couldn't even remember what happened in the last 2 movies. I mean, hell, she couldn't even remember that we went to the theaters to see them, but she was actually able to quote this movie. And if that gets her more encouraged to continue watching comic book adaptations with me, then I'm all aboard. If I were to give it a medal, I'd probably go with gold. I don't even know if I should start doing that, but whatever. Thanks for checking out my review of Thor Ragnarok. I'd really appreciate hearing what you think of it. Please leave a comment, like if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. Once again, thanks for watching.